Hello, hello, hello out there in social media land. It's another fabulous Friday here on Elevation Moments with your girl, Victoria's in the house. Look, y'all, it is a super amazing Friday. And I hope that you guys are ready for just a brief conversation with you and I together. Because guess what? When we come together, it's always time for us to be empowered, embraced, educated, to be elevated and not tolerated. And I am super excited. I have been, the last 40 plus days have been absolutely amazing from one area to the another. And can I be honest with you? Sometimes the best time to see things grow is when you're going through your storms, right? And so, even in these last 40 days, 40 plus days, some of you that know me know it's even been more than that. But theoretically, the last 45, as I'm sitting here counting, it's actually the last 45 days that has been so transformational for me, transitional for me. And so when I tell you that I am super excited about what is taking place, things sometimes, you got to understand where you are in this season of your life and what's happening in this season of your life. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today. I'm waiting for some friends to pop on because I always like to be able to share this information and share what we're doing with people and places and things that want to be a part. We have a lot of things that's getting ready to come out. Probably this week you're going to sell. It's probably starting today, to be honest with you. There's going to be a lot of things that's going to start being posted that you're going to see this happening, and I want you to be able to take advantage of it. It's some things that's going to be able to empower you. It's going to be able to embrace you. It's going to be able to help you get to that next level, right? And sometimes it takes what we're going to be talking about today, a fresh cut. But when I tell you that some of the events that's coming up here in the next few days and weeks, it's going to be life-changing for some. It's going to be impactful for some. It's going to be empowering for some. It's going to be a place of rejuvenation for others. I've been participating in several different programs for the last 45 days, but I can tell you that the last 25 days have been amazing, especially in the mornings this last week of being a part of an event for about 5 days straight. And it has been so refreshing. It's also been very uplifting, right? Because how many of us know that when you're transitioning, when you're moving to your next level, when you're actually experiencing change, sometimes you got to get out of the places that you've been in order to be able to understand where you are right now, right? And so I've had the pleasure of just sitting in the presence with some amazing people this week that have just impacted my life on different levels. I think we've all impacted. I think if we all be honest, if we're doing the right thing, if we're doing it for the right reason, we can impact others' lives without even knowing it, right? As a personal development coach, and I've been one for several years now, but being a personal development coach means changing the process of how we think about some of the things that we do, right? And how some of our life journeys have caused some of the things that happen in our life. I can be honest with you. There's some things that have happened over the years with me that I never thought would be the pushing force, the fire behind what I truly enjoy doing. And many of you know my gift for the gab. I love talking to people. I love empowering people. I don't like discouraging people because that is just not me. Anytime I can uplift somebody with something positive into their life and something positive to say is where I generate my energy. I don't have time for negativity. I don't have time for negative sources, negative people, places, and things. Let's just break it down to that, right? Because in this day that we live in, we have enough of things that's going on that will cause us to feel inadequate, right? So for those of you that may be watching for the first time or even behind the scenes, let me tell you what Victoria Elevate stands for and how Elevated Not Tolerated Not Tolerated rolls right into that. So Victoria Elevates is my business. It is the umbrella of all the businesses that I operate. My Elevated Not Tolerated coaching and motivational services is the meat and potatoes of what I love to do. It also houses elegant elevations, floor and wedding designs. It's also the covering for a few new programs that are coming back or coming out, and some that are coming back. The Coaches on Parade, for instance, is coming back. You're going to be seeing some information going out about that shortly. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining. The Coaches on Parade program is coming back. We have some things that we're going to be doing specifically with coaches for coaches, but we also have some programs that are coming back. We're known for the Positive Self-Building course that many of you are now taking a liking to, and you asking more questions about it and what it looks like and what you can do to be a part of it and all of those great things. And so, we got a lot of things that's coming out here that's going to be hitting the market for you to be able to enjoy, and I hope you will be a part of that. But when I tell you that the last, I want to say 45 days, guys, it may be more because of how I transition into things. But the last 45 days, and especially the last 5 days, everything has just kind of been putting itself into order. Can I be honest with you? It doesn't matter if you are experiencing a storm in your life, because a tornado in your life, a hurricane in your life. If you're experiencing all of those things, I get it. It's hard to see the forest for the trees, if you will, that old cliche. But when I tell you that if you put your mind to some things, if you readjust how you look at some things will be easier to adapt to, right? I'm not telling you to settle. I'm telling you how to adapt. And some of the times that's what we're missing, how to adapt to what we're going through. So as a personal development coach, I like to talk about self-worth. I like to talk about self-confidence. I like to talk about, understanding who you are from the root up, because most of the things that have transpired in my life happen from a root that's been implanted inside of me. How many of you know that sometimes the biggest problem, the biggest struggle you have is what's inside of you that most people don't even know, right? And this is the thing. When you don't feel adequate in who you are and you don't see the things that you can accomplish, but it feels like you're in this box all by yourself, right? Well, let me tell you what elevated, not tolerated means. Elevated, not tolerated means to rise above anything and everything that has held us down and has caused us to feel inadequate. And it's done so unpleasantly, guys. But with you and I together now, we can be empowered, we can be embraced, and we can be educated to be elevated and not tolerated. We no longer have to accept the things that don't feel good. We don't have to accept it. We may not have the full control over the situation, but we do have we do have the control of how we respond to things. And we also have the power to be able to push to our next level, right? So many times we're sitting in a place of uncertainty because of the lack of the things that we've experienced in our life, right? Domestic violence, homelessness, pushed to the side, abused mental, physically, emotionally. There's so many things out there that has affected our life that sometimes we just don't feel good about who we are, right? And sometimes life has thrown some bricks at you that's caused you not to feel like you can do some things. Can I be honest with you? I've had the pleasure of being in a group for the last couple of days with some amazing people that continue to blossom and bring their ideas to the forefront, to be able to push to the next level, to take their stories to another level. So when I'm talking about Fresh Cut Friday today, I'm going to ask you this major question. Have you cut loose all of those things that are no longer serving your purpose? Because this is the time where you and I must generate some new energies. If we're going to develop who we really are, it's time for us to push past all of those negative nanny situations out there and see something for the greater. When I begin to think about all of the programs and the things that I do, and sometimes I get a little, do you get a little bit shaky because you don't see things happening the way you want? Or sometimes you just don't feel like you're doing enough? Sometimes it's about cutting away those negative thoughts, right? 90% of the time it's about us cutting away the negative thoughts. Let me just be honest with you, because a lot of times it's just negative things that have been thrown at us from other people. other people, places, and things. But when you are starting to develop the real you, when you're starting to look at who you are for who you are, you put away all of those things. The Bible talks about putting when you become to be an adult, that you put away childish things. There's a scripture in the Bible that follows through with that. And let me tell you, when you push away those childish thoughts that you can't, but you can, I'm telling you, the whole trajectory of what you're doing in your life begins to change. Now is the time for us to see things on a different level. Now it's time for us to go back to the wheel, if you will. And sometimes it's just a part of us being on the potter's wheel and being allowed to be maneuvered and shaped to the people, places, and things that we need to be. Sometimes that means that we got to go to the tap root. And when I talk about that with my positive self-building students on Saturdays, that's one of the main things we talk about. We talk about how to go to that main root, that seed that was planted, but it didn't just grow the right way. Sometimes you have to be able to reinvent your wheel, right? When I went through all of my transitions of moving to the next level, when I started putting myself into positions where I could see something clearer than for what it started off to be, I began to see some changes in my life, right? But this is the thing I want to encourage you on. You don't just do it overnight. It is a process. What we do is a continuous process. Life is a continuous process that we have to continue to develop and walk through the process with it, right? The thing is, have you set the appropriate goals to see what you need to accomplish? Have you actually looked at what you were doing previously to see if it was working, but you just didn't have that push that you need to say that you can keep on moving? Recently, and I said the last 45 days, I have spent some quality time with myself. You can always look at your programs. Hey, Dr. T in the house, my sisters in the house. When I tell you, when you start looking and when you reiterate and regenerate some positivity in your life, when you start looking at those things that you thought had tore you up and you start going back and you re-look at some things, sometimes it's just a process of you reevaluating the real you. It's Fresh Cut Friday. What a perfect opportunity for us to start throwing away things that we don't need, right? Seeing things on another level. Can I tell you what self truly is? Self is seeing every level form, seeing every piece of you develop into the greater person that you are, the greater person that you want to be. See, one of the things that I truly believe, no matter if you're for me or not, is that every person has good in them. It's just that you have to develop the good from a different place, right? The Bible says, so that a man think it is, so is he. So if you're thinking negative, you're going to generate negative thoughts. You're going to manifest negative thoughts. It's time for us to freshly cut some things and begin to look at our own individuality on a different level. It's time to reprocess some things, guys. In the last 45 plus days, and I've shared this with Dr. T and some other folks, there's been some things that I've had to transition out of and transition into. One of the things that I say to all of my clients is this: if it's not helping you grow, then it's time to let it go. And sometimes you can hold on to certain things for years and you can always want to see it change, but it doesn't, right? Look, in order for something to change, it's got to want to change. You got to want to change, right? And sometimes that's what we're missing. That's it, Dr. T, the shift. Sometimes we're missing the opportunity for that shift to take place in us. Sometimes we are so in tune to the negativities of our life that we can't see the good that God is doing in us. It's time for us to truly see some things that are happening on a different perspective. It's time for us to move to another place. It's time for us to be able to understand that we have been created for something more greater than what we see. Yeah, that's not proper English, but it's how I'm feeling today. See, this is the thing. Every time I put on one of my t-shirts, and this t-shirt says, "Stop feeding people who can't digest your worth." If a person can't digest who you really are, then that's okay. The fault is not on you. It's no fault. It's just that they're not for you. You have to understand that everybody is not going to understand your process. Not everybody's going to understand the feed, the fire that you give to the circumstances of your life, right? When I went through being homeless, I had to be able to understand that that was not who I was. It was just a circumstance that I was in, right? Some people that are homeless is not what you think it is. When I hear people talk very negative of people that are truly homeless, my anger level, can I say it, Miss Dr. T? My level of anxiety goes to another level, because sometimes it's not the person it's just something that happens. In my case, it was just something that happened. But what made the difference was every day I got up and I looked like I was still $1,000,000. Can I be honest with you? There are some things that have happened to me in the last 10 months. Go and twiddling down in the last 10 months, that if you knew the full story, come on, Dr. T, so you're hearing me. If you knew my full story, you would understand where it came from and why I still position myself to push through everything that I'm going through. These are techniques that I had to teach myself. And that's why I love teaching it to somebody else. Because sometimes you can be stuck in a homeless mind situation. Sometimes the stuckness is in your mind. Sometimes the loneliness is in your mind. Sometimes the homelessness is in your mind. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're probably going to say. Wait a minute. Yes, I know for me, I was physically homeless. I was out there. I didn't have a roof over my head, right? Or if I had a roof, it was somebody else's that I had to borrow for the day. But that mindset was that mindset, right? And in order for you to move to your next level, you need to have people, places, and things in your life that can help push you through that next level. It's not always about sitting on the pew. It's about taking that pew to another level and being able to see things rise to another place. In the last 45 days, I've had to regenerate some thoughts and some feelings and some things and be able to ask God to give me clarity and understanding of who I am and where I am. Because even the greatest of coaches, who I am, the greatest of the coach. Hey, Elder Carter, thank you so much for being with me, my dear friend. We have got to get together. We've been talking about this forever. But when I tell you that sometimes the biggest journey that we have to battle is battling that mindset of ourselves. When I was homeless, when I was literally homeless, guys, let me tell you what I had to do every day in order to keep my sanity. No matter if I was sleeping at a friend's house overnight, no matter if I was sleeping in my car, or if I had enough money where I was sleeping in a hotel, one of the things that kept me going was that I knew that God had a purpose for my life. I knew that God had not left me, even though there was times that I didn't feel like he was hearing me. I knew he didn't leave me. Why is that? Because every day I was able to get up and be able to fix myself up and look like exactly who I intend to be and where I'm going. So you got to understand that your future is not where you are now, but what you see that's getting ready to happen in your future. You can't live in the same place that you are now in your mind. You have to regenerate. You have to be able to process new tools and activities that's going to push you to that level. When I tell you, one of the ways that I did that was developing what I talk about now. And that's some of the 3S. That's some of the process of the 3S. That's also some of the process of the positive self-building course. It's building from the inside out. It's building and it's tearing down those negative stones that was causing my heart to be cold. Do you not understand that some of you that are sitting there or watching or have watched before or will watch later, some of you are sitting there right now and you're still holding on to the past. You can say that you forgot it. You can say that you're over it. But if you constantly are drilling it in the negativities of your past, then you're not moving forward. One of the things that I had to learn that was my past was a part of my future. And what I mean by that is my past was a stepping stone. My past was a foundation. My past was where I had to get to. My past is what caused me to move to that next level. My past was not where I was going to stay. And that's the reason why when it irritates me when people talk about the past negative parts of your life. Can I be honest with you? We all have a past and we all have things that are not always pleasant to remember. We don't need to be reminded of the displeasing things of our past. We need to look at our past as a way for us to move to our future. I can't tell you that being in domestic violence was a pleasure, but it has prepared me to be able to talk to other men and women about the mindset and how you have to change how you think about it. It also gives me the opportunity to help men and women be able to come to the grips with it, that it does happen even in your silent places and even in the places that you wouldn't even believe. This is the reason why it is important as we move to our next level, is that we generate these energies. We generate those places that we need to be. It's time for us to stop looking at everything as a negative and begin to understand that the negative things that happen in our life, our past, 30 seconds ago, guys, 30 seconds ago was my past. But guess what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to use it as another foundation. These last couple of days, I have been with some amazing people, and we have been discussing some amazing things. But what the purpose was for me was to be able to see that all of the things that I thought I was doing wrong wasn't that I wasn't doing it wrong. It was that I didn't continue to push it to the next level. Sometimes what you are doing is just not pushing. And how does that happen? We get stuck in by looking at other people's things and being and seeing what they're doing, but not understanding that what they are doing is not what you need to be doing. What you need to be doing is doing what God is planning in you to do. We're all unique creatures, guys. We all were created for a specific purpose, right? And sometimes that purpose doesn't always look like somebody else. See, this is the reason why we're all uniquely made and we're all uniquely designed, because we all have unique capabilities that's going to touch those people, places, and things out there that has been assigned to us. It's time for us to move past all of that. When I started developing a real love for myself, and see, this is the thing. Some of us don't, and I'm going to say us because I was at that place. So I know how you out there feeling. I know how some of you are watching me right now and you're saying, what do you mean? You don't understand. Let me tell you, at a big part of my life, at a very big part of my life, I didn't know my own true value. I didn't understand who I truly was. I didn't even like the chick. Can I be honest with you? Because I was too busy comparing myself to everybody else but who I needed to compare myself to. The chick in the mirror. When I tell you that at the end of the day, I started feeling better about who I was and being able to see that person grow into the mature woman that she is today. So you got to understand, hey, Daddy, my big brother's out there, my big little brother. When I tell you that you got to start looking at who you are right now. See, the thing is, and one of the good young ladies, Stacy, said, you got to start looking at your future, your future at right now. So you're gonna backtrack what you've already learned. See, this is the thing. When you start looking at your future and start working backwards to develop the true you, that's when some things begin to get into order. See, you have to think about this. Who really do you understand that you are? See, this is the thing. When I started tapping into some things, yeah, Dr. T, that's what I'm talking about. When you start looking at the real you and understanding that the girl in the mirror, the man in the mirror, Michael Jackson, hey, Don, we got to do a sing, I duet together. Do you know who the man or the woman in the mirror really is? It took a lot of time for me to understand that I am so daggone unique that it is crazy. It is so crazy. Hey, Stacy. Stacy Phoenix is an amazing young lady, and I'm honored to see her joining us in the room on today. When I tell you that taking back my energy, taking back my access to who I really am, all of the things that you have seen before, you thought was just a little bit, baby, you ain't seen the best yet. Because at the end of the day, when you are able to position yourself and understand that you love who you are, and you have something uniquely to give back, that's when you can be able to experience it on a different level. When I go into my classrooms, I am a whole different animal. When I'm in my group sessions, I'm a whole different animal. You know why? Because the person on the inside of me is amazing. The person on the inside of me went through a whole lot of, excuse me, church people, a whole lot of hell to get where she is right now. This chick right here that you're seeing right now had to be able to be broken to be able to be pushing to another level. See, this is the thing. I want to share this with you because this is something that I shared with a couple of my friends on yesterday. And I want to share it with you. So give me a second. Give me a second. I'm going to share with you a little things that's coming up while I pull up this information that I want to share with you. How about that? So take a look at this and sit back and enjoy for about 30 seconds and get your water out there so you can see what's happening. This is what's happening this weekend, guys. Okay, y'all know I had to get my jam and what was it there, right? So to those of you that are joining me now and watching behind the scenes, come on in here and join us. Come on in and get in here with us. My good friend, all of my brothers, my brother Donnie out there. Donnie, you know I got the single, baby. Hey, I'm all the way up. Hey. Look, if y'all haven't heard that, you're going to be hearing it more on my show because Donnie got the beats as one of the sponsors behind the scenes of Uncensored Conversation with Elevated Not Tolerated. And that dude is bad. He is bad to the bone. And guess what? He my brother, y'all. Yeah, we might have different parents, but guess what? That's my true brother. I love him to the utmost. And to all of you that are joining, this is the thing. Thank you, Elder Carter, because you know how some of them folks out there that we know how to react to some things. You know, I'm just saying. I want to share this with you though, because as I was in my meditation time and in my prayer time, this is what God downloaded to me. And Stacy, I want to say to Stacy Phoenix and all of the morning crew, that's who I'm referring to. This was another win-win for me that I didn't share. So I want to share it now, right? When God downloads stuff to me, sometimes it kind of like, it just knocks me off my feet, right? See, this is the thing. After having a conversation with now a client, one of the things that she said to me was, Miss Victoria, do you realize that you being elevated wasn't going to keep you from being attacked? And I said, what? What you mean? My other little baby brother, Ruben Austin, in there. Hello, the prophets in the hills. All right. Okay, so check this out. When I was talking to this young lady, she said, Miss Victoria, she said, did you think you being elevated to your next level through this process wasn't going to make the devil mad, right? Come on, Donnie. Donnie, come on, boo boo. Donnie, you're going to love this one right here, Donnie. Donnie, I know you're going to love this one because it took me off, right? But when she said, did you think that being elevated wasn't going to make the enemy mad? Did you not think that the stalkers, as the morning crew, we've been calling it this week, this is the thing. Did you not know that the enemies were going to come out, the stalkers? Can I be honest with you, though? Some of those stalkers are the people that you've been hanging around all this time. It's time to disconnect. It's time to cut those umbilical cords. But this is when after she said that to me, I said, you're right, because that's what Elevated Not Tolerated does, right? Elevated Not Tolerated, again, it takes us to that place, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, this is what I got. This is what God downloaded to me. He says, I'm allowing the breaking for the recovery. I'm allowing the breaking for the making. And I'm allowing the breaking for your manifestation. So this is the thing, guys. So this is what I want to tell you about having a fresh cut. When you find yourself, because I've been praying this for the last 4 years, right? And some of you that's been at the Favors Fair Conference, you've heard me say this. Dr. T, we're going to talk about it again at this Favors Fair Conference as well. Check this out. I began praying, God, and when the pandemic hit, I began to pray, God, move anything. Donnie, I love you. Brother, we jump on each other's shows and we have fun. That's what we do. Check this out. When I tell you that for the last 4 years, I have been praying, God, move anything, anyone, and everything out of my way that's not helping me grow to my next. Move it out of the way. See, this is the thing. When you really have a relationship with God and you begin to really pray, I mean, look, I ain't talking about that 5-second prayer. Now, wait a minute now, because let me just say this. Your 5-second prayer works too. But when you really have that moment where you're getting in depth with that prayer, he will start moving things so expeditiously. Dr. T, when I tell you I started seeing some things happen, I was like, God, wait a minute. Why this one? Why that one? And so today I'm able to share it with you why that was. It was because of what I just read to you. It was the breaking. It was the separation for the recovery. So you got to understand, I was broken into pieces by the things that had happened in my life, right? Domestic violence, being homeless, being, losing my sister 30 days after I preached my initial sermon, my mom died a year later. I mean, come on, guys. There were so many things happening at a certain part of my life that I was really trying to figure out what the hell was going on, right? And at that moment is when God started downloading to me, what do you really need to understand? And I said, God, move anything, everything, and everyone out of my life that wasn't helping me get to that next level, right? And that's when people started walking away from me. People started dropping out of my life. And I really didn't understand it. Even down to this last year, I really didn't understand why certain people were not in my corner. From the pulpit to the corner store, y'all. I say it all the time. There were things that were happening. I was like, God, what is this? He said, didn't you want to build positive relationships? And when God said I had to teach that this year, I was like, God, come on now. You know people ain't going to get with that. You know people ain't going to want to hear that from me. He said, doesn't matter. Because when you're building positive relationships, there are things that has got to happen. When my students come into class on tomorrow, they are excited. They're already ready to go. We've been doing this for almost 6 weeks. And these people that's in my class, they are super excited about sharing what truly building positive relationships mean, right? And when I began to just work with the group, the morning crew, as I'm going to refer to them, because of confidentiality, and I'm, the facilitator is not me, so I can't give you information. But the people that I've been working with this week, just in our group session, when this information downloaded onto me about he was allowing the breaking for my recovery. And I was like, well, God, I ain't saying nothing that now. Wait a minute, G, what you talking about? He said, I got to break everything. I got to separate you from everything. And I mean, God started, Stacy, y'all guys know I started laughing about something on Monday, a Tuesday morning. It was hilarious, right? But at the end of the day, it made good sense. And that's when he says, I'm breaking for the making. He first did the breaking for the recovery, right? So he did it in reverse, right? He broke me for the recovery. Then he's breaking me for the making. The making of what? Whatever he has intended for me to do, right? And then he's breaking me for the manifestation, because I've got to be able to see that all this positive building I've been doing with people. Hey, Coach K, my friend, when I tell you, when he started downloading me and showing me, hey, this is the reason why you're the positive self-building queen. This is why you're the elevated, not tolerated queen. This is the real reason why I've been taking you through these places, people and places and things all this time, because I had to get you right here. I had to get you to this point where you're separated from anything and everything. Now, I'm telling you, there's some other people, places, and things that's getting ready to get cut. But at this very moment, those things that was holding me hostage to not being the best person I could be, I'm telling you, it is important for me to be able to see every level of you grow to your next level. Seeing every level of you being the best part of you can be. I have a t-shirt that says the best part of waking up isn't Folgers, baby, but it's your purpose and your destiny. I want you to understand that your purpose and your destiny is about you being the best part of who you are, building that personal development in you, understanding why the root of why you feel the way you feel happened. That's why I'm your personal development coach, baby. That's the reason why I can go and help you find what that is. Why do you feel negative about yourself? Why is it that you don't understand your true value? Why is it that you can't build your confidence? There's a root to it, baby. And that's the reason why I'm going to help you get there. And when you're thinking about freshly starting over, when you're thinking about moving everything out of your way, the fresh thing has to come to your mind first. Breaking away from all the negative things in your life that is not giving you joy. The joy of the Lord is my strength, right? And the joy of the Lord in me is being able to see you and you and you and even you get to another place in your life. It's time to develop into something greater for who you are tended to be. It's time for you, my friend, to come on board. It's time for you to be able to tap into your new self, the new you, the real you, the positive you, that growing you that deserves to stand out amongst everybody else. And not because you're being conceited, but because your life depends on your growth. Sometimes that means you got to get with the right people doing the right thing. I am so honored that God allowed me to be able to teach building positive relationships, because the positive relationship begins with you, the individual. How can you build a relationship with somebody else when you don't have a positive relationship with yourself? When you don't even understand the capacity of what you have to endure? It's time for us, my friends. It's time for us to get to that next level. It's time for us to be able to understand that we are here for a purpose, and that purpose is greater than what you and I can even imagine. I'm super excited about 2024. I know there's a whole lot of people out there with a lot of different views, but guess what? You have to put yourself in the position to be able to be ready to move to a positive level of your life. God doesn't want us to live in this place of negativity all the time. Does that mean that you're not going to have some bad days? I can be honest with you. Out of the last 45 plus days, I've had some days. Let me just back it up. Can I tell you the last 12 months have been a little bit on the hellacious side? But when I tell you today, no matter how I feel, my physical may feel, because when I get out of here, I'm going to have to take a nap, y'all. I'm just going to tell you, because I've been up since about 4:30 this morning, so I'm going to take a nap. But when I tell you that how I feel spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I don't care who walks away from me. I don't care who doesn't understand me. Baby, I'm glad you don't, because that means you need to go over there where you can be understood by somebody else. See, this is the thing. It's okay if everybody ain't in your corner, boo. It's okay if they walk away, boo. Because what that is doing is leaving space for somebody else that needs you, that's looking for you, that God has assigned to you, right? Get yourself around people that can build you a place of peace, that understand when you're not talking on the telephone, when you're not texting, and when you're not doing all these things, that you're in a place of peace and you're generating the energies that you need. I have some amazing colleagues that I talk to just about every day. And then I have some associates that I don't talk to at all unless I have to. See the difference? There's colleagues, and then there's, okay, you get me. But guys, I want to thank you for taking out these 40 minutes to be with me today. I want to tell you that there's a lot of things that's getting ready to happen. There's some things that I want you to be able to see. I want some things I want you to be able to experience with me. There is a 3-day challenge that's getting ready to come up. I want you to be a part of it. And then guess what? It's free. It's a 3-day challenge that I'm going to be giving out that's going to be free. I want you to be a participant of it, of understanding your self-worth. It's a 3-day challenge for you to understand how you can build your self-worth. And it's free, right? The thing is, there's so much happening in my atmosphere right now that I can't contain it. I got to be able to get you to that point where you can see it and experience it with me. The next Positive Self-Building class is coming too. We're going to start posting about that. You don't want to miss it. You want to get into the class right now. You want to get your books. You want to get your material ready. We're getting ready to open up the doors for the certification for coaches. We're going to be certifying life coaches here in 2024. We got the Coaches on Parade coming back. Baby, we got so much going on. You don't want to miss it, because we're in the business to help you build who you are and develop that true self-worth. Because, baby, I'm your personal development coach. And that means I got to help you build that self-worth first. I got to make you understand how worthy you are to me. Your worth and your value in the atmosphere is more than you anticipate. Guys, I got to rock and roll it out of here. I got some things to do, but it's been my pleasure to come and spend Fresh Cut Friday with you. And we'll come back on Sunday with Uncensored Conversation with Elevated Not Tolerated at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And my phenomenal guest is that phenomenal Taisha Powell, who is we're going to give you some other information about some things that Taisha is doing when she come onto the show on Sunday night, right here on Facebook and all of social media. We're not just on Facebook, guys. That's why y'all making y'all mistake. Y'all think y'all will find me here. Anywho, there's some other places you can find me too. But come back Sunday night at 7 o'clock. We got an amazing show. We're going to be telling you about our guests for the next week and the next week and the next week, because they're already lined up. But guys, we love you. Have a great, wonderful day. And keep on remembering that it's time for you to be empowered, embraced, and educated, to be elevated and not tolerated. And we'll see you real soon.